A very good morning and welcome back to the course of microwave engineering. As we discussed in our previous lecture, we saw the two different types of diode, that is the varactor diode and tunnel diode. Now, in the case of varactor diode, we saw that by controlling the applied voltage across the diode, we can vary the capacitance. And the capacitance can be used to vary the reactance in the particular circuit. And similarly, in the case of tunnel diode, we saw that quantum tunneling effect with which negative resistance in the diode is established. And by using a negative resistance, this diode can be used as a source of a microwave signal, or it can be also used as a amplification device for the microwave signal. So in today's lecture, we are going to go ahead and see two more special type of diodes whose mechanism is altogether based on certain different mechanism which we never seen till date. So these devices are the two diodes, that is gun diode and impart diode. Now the working mechanism of gun diode and Trappard diode are different, but both of these diodes are utilized for the same purpose. They are used as an amplifying of the micro signal, as well as they are used to generate the micro signals. But the working principle of gun diode and impart diode are altogether different, and it is based on certain different principle. So that principle of operation of gun diode and impart diode today we are going to learn, right? So first let us start with the gun diode. So for that I will be taking the help of my phone book. So let us go through the theory, then we will see the construction, and then we will see the detailed working mechanism of this gun diode. So the gun diodes are used as an oscillators as well as an amplifier in most of the important microwave devices. Okay, so the gun diode oscillators are nominally used as the local oscillators, and they are used in a power amplifier which covers the range of a frequency from 1 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz. Okay, so normally whenever we want to amplify or when we want to generate a micro signal in the range of 1 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz, gun diodes are a very common choice. Gun diode is N-type semiconductor slab of one of the components. So the material which is used for the construction of the gun diode is either of these materials. So the material choices are gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, indium arsenic, indium antimony, and cadmium telluride. So the gun diode, the speciality is that this particular diode, though the name is a diode, it doesn't have any distinct junction in its construction. Or in other words, the gun diodes are normally known as a junctionless diodes. And that's why sometimes gun diodes are also known as bulk resistance diodes, right? So the name gun for this particular diode was given by particular scientist who has discovered the oscillation mechanism in the gun diode, right? And these oscillations are found in the gun diode. Okay, so whenever it is subjected to certain particular threshold applied voltage, right? So we'll come to this part, gun diodes. Okay, here, not here. Yes, here, right? So let us see why the name is given gun diode. So the gun diode was invented originally. It was proposed by the scientist who named as a gun, J.B. Gunn. Okay, so near around in the 19th century, he has found out this particular mechanism in certain semiconductor devices, and that's why the name to this particular diode is given as a gun diode. Please remember that gun diodes are also known with a name as transferred electron devices, or we call it as a TED devices. So the working mechanism or the principle of gun diode is based on the fact that the transfer of electron from lower valley to upper valley of the same conduction band. So that principle we are going to elaborate in detail later on. But please remember that gun diodes are also known as transferred electron devices, or in short they are also known as a TEDs. So in front of you, you observe a typical construction of a gun diode. So as such, there is no part of any particular junction. So this particular diode is a bulk diode, and it is made up of normally the N type of a semiconductor slab. Okay, and the semiconductor popularly used in the construction of gun diode are gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, and cadmium telluride. Now remember that these semiconductors with which the gun diode is constructed, they do possess certain unique quality in the regard that these semiconductor materials, they do possess multiple level of conduction band, right? So we'll elaborate this particular concept of multiple level conduction band. So this is a particular construction of a gun diode, how it look like. Okay, so here there is no as such junction type of a thing in the construction of the gun diode. So that's why the gun diodes are known as a bulk devices, right? So here the gun diodes are biased in any particular direction. As it is said that it doesn't have any particular junction, it can be biased in either way, either forward bias or reverse bias, it doesn't matter. Okay, now the specialty of this particular diode is when we apply certain voltage across this particular diode, and when the applied voltage is less than a particular threshold value, then the current through this particular starts increasing, right? And when we go on increasing the applied voltage across this diode after certain threshold voltage, at that time the current through this particular diode start decreasing, even if the voltage applied across the diode is increasing. So this particular behavior of the diode, we call it as a negative resistance. Okay, and normally we operate the gun diode in its negative resistance mode in order to utilize it as a source of a microwave signal, or it can be also be used as a amplifying device. Okay, so here the way in which we saw the working mechanism of a tunnel diode. Okay, so on the same principle, that is a negative resistance region and behavior is also exhibited by the gun diode. So the working principle that we will see, the principle is but the transferred mechanism of electron from lower valley conduction band to upper valley conduction band, right? So similar to tunnel diodes, gun diodes are also utilizing their negative resistance region in order to generate continuous signal, and that continuous signal will result in a microwave oscillation, right? And with the help of gun diode, we can achieve frequency generation from 1 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz, right? So in front of you, so this is a typical electrical field characteristic of the gun diode, how it look like. Okay, so the current density and the drift velocity, those are having the similar type of a graph. Okay, so originally we will see a linear relationship between the current flowing through the diode and the applied voltage across it, and when the applied voltage is increased after a certain threshold value, instead of increase in current, we will find that the current will start decreasing, right? So this particular region we are going to utilize as a negative resistance provided by this particular device. Now here the question comes, how this negative resistance is developed in the gun diode, right? So here the gun diode working principle can be understood by studying the phenomena called as transferred electron mechanism. Okay, so this transfer of electron from lower valley conduction band to upper valley conduction band is explained in a model theory known as a two valley theory. Okay, so a principal working mechanism of the gun diode is in front of you. Okay, and this principle of working of the gun diode is explained with the help of this two valley theory. Okay, so what is this two valley theory? The two-valley model theory is one of the several theories. There could exist several theories to explain the working principle of gun diode, but two-valley theory is one of the most accepted working model in order to elaborate the working principle of the gun diode, right? So the two-valley model theory, it is used to explain the manifestation of negative resistance. So that means this particular model or theory explains us how the negative resistance is getting developed in the gun diodes, right? So it has been proposed by Cromer in order to explain the effect of generation of negative resistance in certain types of bulk semiconductor materials. Okay, so nominally, as we already know, that gun diode is constructed of n-type gallium arsenide. High mobility lower valley is separated from low mobility upper valley. So here in the diagram, it is actually energy band diagram. So here we clearly see that we have a valency band at the bottom, okay, and a conduction band at the top level. Okay, so the separation between this valency band and conduction band, we call it as a forbidden energy band, right? So typically this construction is valid for gallium arsenide material, GaAs, right? So the energy band gap for the gallium arsenide between the valency band and conduction band is found out to be around 1.43 electron volts, right? So if you observe carefully the conduction band is not a single band, but rather it is fragmented into different levels, at least two levels. At lower level of the conduction band, there is a region, we call it as a lower valley, right? And above to this lower valley, we have another region of the conduction band, we call it as a upper valley, right? So the lower valley and upper valley are the two parts of the same conduction band, and we can say that this conduction band is multi-value leveled band. Okay, so in other words, there is no unique value of energy level in the conduction band of this particular type of gallium arsenide material. So rather there exist sub bands in the conduction band of gallium arsenide. Okay, so here at least two sub bands are shown in the same conduction band, which we labeled as lower valley and upper valley. Now what is the feature of these lower valley and upper valley, which are the part of same conduction band, which can call them as the sub bands of the same conduction band? So the properties are the conduction and mobility, okay, and we can call it as a mass and mobility of electrons are going to be different in these sub bands of the same conduction band. For example, over here in the lower conduction band, we call it as a lower valley, the mass of the electron is around 0.068 times. Okay, so it is a percentage, and the mobility is very high, and the mobility mu1 is around 8000 centimeter per volts per second, right? If you compare these values of the mass of electron and mobility of electron in the upper level of the conduction band, that is in the upper valley, these are going to be different. Now here in the upper valley, we see that mass of the electron has been increased to 1.2, while the mobility of the electrons in the upper conduction band is around 180 centimeter per square, right? So here the distinct advantage that this particular region of conduction band we are going to utilize to generate a negative resistance effect. Okay, so I will draw you this figure later on, and I will explain you the principle on which the negative resistance is developed. So we go ahead and we'll see the other parts of the diode. So here the proof is not required, the Ridley, Watkins and Hilsum mechanism in order to derive the mobility equations and all those things. Now here the two diagrams here, whatever they are representing, those are representing the current density versus the applied electric field across the diode, and this diode is going to follow this type of graphs for the current density whenever it is biased with a certain applied electric field. This diode can be controlled by applying a voltage or by applying a current and in these two situations we are going to get this type of a behavior, right? And these two graphs are popularly known as Ridley-Watkins-Hillsum mechanism to develop a theory of negative resistance, right? Now here in this particular diagram, how the high field domain is formed during the operation of gun diode is explained, right? And is elaborated for the applied field and for the applied current separately, right? Now the gun diode is going to operate in the different modes. Okay, so please remember, I will elaborate you the main principle operation by actual drawing later on. So let us study first the gun diode modes. So the gun effect. Okay, so what do you mean by a gun effect? The gun effect is the effect of negative resistance observed in the gun diode simply. So this gun effect or the negative resistance effect is derived from the property of bulk material. Okay, so this gun diode, it doesn't have any junction, so it has a plain slab of a semiconductor material, and this negative resistance property is derived or it is achieved from that bulk property of the material, right? So this negative resistance, differential resistance, is utilized to create oscillation whose frequency lies in the range of a microwaves. Okay, so this is how the gun diodes are used to create microwave frequencies. The modes of the operation of the bulk semiconductor diode is dependent on the concentration and uniformity of the doping, length of the active region, and operating bias voltage, right? So here the modes in which the gun diode is supposed to operate. So we are going to see the different mode. Okay, so there is a gun mode, there is a limited space charge accumulation mode, quench mode, and delayed domain mode. All these four different modes we are going to see. Okay, so normally whenever the gun diode we want to use as a source of microwave signal, we normally use this diode in gun mode, or it can be used in a limited space charge accumulation mode, right? So first of all, let us see what is this gun mode. Okay, the different modes of this gun diode is going to depend on a number of parameters. First parameter is it depends on the concentration and uniformity of the doping. Second, it depends on what is the length of the active region of the diode. Third, it depends upon operating bias voltage and cathode contact property. And fourth, the type of external circuit used to sustain the oscillation. Okay, so here the important criteria for classifying the modes of operation for the gun effect is given with equation 5.25. So equation 5.25 is the product of N multiplied by L. Okay, so for N-type gallium arsenide material, so this particular product on the right hand side, whatever the quantity we have, we get this quantity around 10 raised to 12 per centimeter square, right? And here normally we get this product is equal to N into L, where N is the charge concentration and L is the effective length of bulk semiconductor diode. So if this product is around 10 raised to 12 per centimeter, then this particular diode is going to exhibit a property known as a gun effect. Okay, so with diode having the product N into L less than 10 raised to 12, it will exhibit a stable field distribution, and the microwave oscillations have been developed in the N-type gallium arsenide and N-type indium phosphide diodes, and the various modes have been developed. Okay, so for gun oscillation mode, the necessary condition is that the product N into L, where N is the concentration of the charges inside the given semiconductor material and L is the effective length of the semiconductor slab, right? So if this product is maintained greater than 10 raised to 12 per centimeter square, then this mode we call it as a gun oscillation mode. Okay, so this mode is operated when the applied field across the diode is greater than the threshold voltage. The high field domain will start drifting along the specimen until it reaches the anode, and low value drops for the below sustaining values. the frequency of oscillation is given by F is equal to this particular formula. Okay, so the next operating mode of the gun diode based on the same product, or the product of frequency of operation multiplied by the length of diode, is around 10 raised to 7 centimeter per second. Okay, so this we call it as a transit time mode, right? So all these modes are shown over here. Now in a transit time mode, approximately we will adjust the timing period of the formation of the domain inside the diode such that it is equal to the signal period of the frequency which the diode is supposed to generate. Okay, so when the domain formation time inside a diode matches with the signal period which the diode is supposed to generate, this particular operation of the diode we call it as a transit time mode. Okay, and in delayed domain mode, what we have this particular equation. See in the bracket, the delayed domain mode, the product of frequency into the length is in between 10 raised to 6 centimeter per second to 10 raised to 7 centimeter per second, and here the time is slightly going to be little bit earlier than the signal period. And in quenched domain mode, please remember, the domain will be formed very quickly, and the time taken by the formation of domain in the diode is very less than the signal period which the diode is supposed to generate. Okay, and in limited space charge accumulation mode, which is typically used as the diode to be as a source of a micro amplifier, here what we do is the quenched domain mode is further increased, and the domains whatever they are formed inside the diode, they will be given a very less time to form, and we will get a limited space charge accumulation mode. Stable amplification mode and circuit oscillation modes are similarly given with a particular product of the semiconductor charge concentration and particularly the length, right? So here the gun diodes are especially used as the stable amplifier modes for the microwave amplification, as well as the gun diodes are very popular choice to be utilized as a source of microwave oscillator in low power transmitter as well as the receivers of wireless front end systems. Okay, so what I will do now, I will elaborate you in detail that working principle of generation of negative resistance in the gun diodes. Okay, so for that I will open the note. Okay, so here I will give the label as gun diodes. Gun diode. Okay, so actually how the gun diode consists of, it consists of a slab of same type of a semiconductor material. For example, this is a semiconductor slab, right? And this semiconductor slab is of N type, and the material we are using is gallium arsenide. Okay, please remember here we don't have any particular junction. In order to form a junction, we should have two different semiconductor materials, right? But here we have only the N type gallium arsenide. Okay, so the semiconductor has a single material which is N type gallium arsenide. So it is irrelevant to apply the bias in a particular way. So you can apply the bias, DC bias, in either way. It doesn't matter what polarity of the DC bias voltage you are going to connect. Okay, so this is the DC voltage. Okay, and this is a gun diode. Okay, so this is a simple gun diode construction, And how it is biased? It can be biased in either way. You can connect the negative polarity in either side, similarly positive polarity on other side. It doesn't matter because it doesn't have any particular junction, right? So here the working principle of Gunn diode is explained with the help of energy band diagram. Okay, so this what is we discussed during our just session, that the working principle of the Gunn diode is explained by means of that model theory, what we call it as a two valley theory, right? So that two valley theory I am going to explain it now. So the two valley theory. So what is two valley theory? This is the model in order to explain the working principle of Gunn diode. Okay, so for two valley theory we have a conduction band over here. So let us call this as a conduction band. And somewhere here at the lower side we have the valency band. This is a typical energy band diagram for any particular semiconductor material, valency band. Now the semiconductor material which we are using is the gallium arsenide. Okay, and the gallium arsenide, okay, for example GaAs, indium phosphide INP, and cadmium telluride CDTE. These are the popular semiconductors in order to construct Gunn diode structure. Semiconductors for Gunn diode. Okay, so what is the specialty of these semiconductor materials? These semiconductor material, they do possess multi-valued conduction band. That means the conduction band doesn't have a unique energy value. So for example, the band gap between the conduction band and valency band, we call it as a delta Eg. This is the energy gap, right, from the energy band diagram. So there will be certain energy band gap. Okay, the specialty of these type of a semiconductor material is that these semiconductor materials are going to possess multi-valued conduction band. Okay, so the multi-valued conduction band I will show with multi-level. For example, I will choose this color. Okay, so this blue color dotted line will show lower level. Okay, and I will show another level, let us say with this green color, right, and this we call it as the upper level. So that means the conduction band of these type of semiconductor material, they are not uniform. So in the conduction band there exist multiple band. Okay, so for example, this is a band 2. The energy of band 2 is say E2, and similarly the below band we call it as a energy E1, and we call it as a band 1. Okay, so the energy level of band 2 is greater than energy level of band 1. Okay, so this indicates that in the conduction band itself there are again different levels of energies, right? So these levels of energy we denote with a valley. Okay, so I will show a valley like diagram. So here in the first energy band I will show a valley structure, and in the upper conduction band I will show another valley. Okay, so here now I will draw the VI characteristic. So this is the status of energy band diagram at equilibrium, right? So whenever there is a no applied voltage across the diode, this is a particular equilibrium condition for the Gunn diode. Okay, so whenever the voltage is not applied. Okay, so the VI characteristic I will draw then. See, the VI characteristic I will draw over here, or rather I will take straight line in this way. So let us say the applied voltage and the generated current. Okay, so whenever there is a no applied voltage, this particular condition exists inside the structure of the energy band diagram. Right now we will apply the DC voltage across the diode. Okay, so what will happen when we apply the DC voltage? The majority charge carriers in the semiconductor, so those are electrons. Okay, so the majority charge carrier in the given semiconductor, they will acquire this energy, and the electrons will start traveling from the valency band to the conduction band. Okay, so when we apply the voltage across the diode, okay, so what will happen? The some of the electrons from the valency band, they will go into the conduction band. Okay, so what will happen then? These electron will go into the very first level of the conduction band over here, and these electron will get migrated to the conduction band over here. Okay, so as the electrons are getting traveled from the valency band to conduction band, this will contribute a current. Okay, so when we apply a voltage, a current will start rising in the circuit. Okay, now next, this process will continue when we go on increasing the applied DC voltage. So more and more number of electrons will come in the valency band. Okay, now the current in the external circuit will go on increasing in this way as these electrons are moving from the valency band to conduction band in this way. So when they come in the conduction band, they will first go into the first valley. Okay, so this valley we used to call as a lower valley. So this we call it as a lower valley. So what is happening? The electrons are getting transferred from the valency band to the lower value of the conduction band, and this will give rise a current in the external circuit which is linearly increasing with the applied increasing voltage. Okay, so when we reach the applied voltage at certain threshold voltage, okay, so this threshold voltage is determined by the property of a semiconductor. So the applied voltage when V is equal to threshold voltage. Okay, so if we increase the voltage further, so what will happen now? Now the electrons which got accumulated in the lower valley of the conduction band, they will start migrating from the lower valley to the upper valley. Okay, so in this way, so these electrons will get transferred from the lower valley to the upper valley. Right, so this process of transfer of electron from the lower valley to upper valley, okay, so this is a different process. So whenever the electron will get transferred from the valency band to the lower conduction band, okay, so at that time they will reach into the lower valley. So in the lower valley, the mass is less, M indicates mass, and the mobility of electron is very high. So that's why we'll get increase in the current up to the threshold voltage. When we increase the applied voltage such that when the applied voltage is greater than threshold voltage, right? When the applied voltage is greater than threshold voltage, what will happen? The electrons which already transferred from the valency band to the lower valley conduction band, they will now get enough energy and they will get transferred to the upper level of the conduction band. Okay, but this time the mass of the electron will be higher and therefore their mobility will reduce. So this is a very important phenomenon. So whenever we exceed the applied voltage across the diode greater than the threshold voltage, at that time whatever transferred electron from the valency band to the lower valley, they will acquire the energy and they will get shifted again to the upper level from lower valley to upper valley. So this is the upper valley. Okay, so in doing so, please remember the mass of the electron will increase and therefore the mobility of the electron will decrease. So whenever the electrons are getting transferred from the lower valley to the upper valley, the mass will become excessive. Mass of the electron will become excessive, and therefore the mobility of the electron will reduce. Okay, and as we know that the current in the external circuit, it all depends upon the mobility of the electron, and therefore in the external circuit, when we increase the applied voltage beyond threshold voltage, instead of increase in current, because of the reduction in the mobility of the electron, the current will start dropping down in this way, and again the current will reach to its value. Okay, and from there, so we call this a valley voltage. Okay, so if you increase the voltage beyond the valley voltage further, what will happen? The current will start again increasing linearly. Okay, so where we are interested in the region, we are interested in the region in between this peak value of current, we call it as a IP, peak value, and we'll get a minimum current, we call it as a valley current. Okay, so the region in between threshold voltage and valley voltage. Okay, so in this region, if you observe from here to here, this particular region, what is happening? With increase in voltage, the current is decreasing. So this region is negative ratio of voltage to current, and this will provide us a negative resistance. Okay, so this is resistance region of the diode. Please remember, this effect is very important, and this particular model we call it as a two valley theory in order to elaborate the principal working operation of the Gunn diode. Okay, so the working principle is that whenever the diode is unbiased, the semiconductor structure energy band diagram will look like this, and whenever we start applying the external DC voltage, first of all the electrons will start getting shifted from the valency band to the lower value of the conduction band with higher mobility and with less mass, and that's why initially we'll get increase in the current linearly with the applied voltage. Okay, so if we cross the applied voltage greater than the threshold voltage, certain threshold voltage, what will happen? The electrons which got transferred into the lower valley, they will acquire the energy, and again they will get transferred to the upper level of the energy band, which we call it as a upper valley. So this mechanism of transferring of electron from the lower valley to the upper valley in the same conduction band is known as transferred electron mechanism, and that's why Gunn diodes are sometimes also known as transferred electron devices. Okay, so this is the reason why they are called as a transferred electron devices, right? So at that time, what will happen? So when the electrons will travel from the lower valley to the upper valley, their mass will increase. When the mass of the electron increases, their mobility reduces, and when the mobility reduces, it all depends on the external current, and hence in the external circuit the current will start dropping down from the threshold voltage onwards. So this particular region where the current is decreasing with increase in voltage, we call it as a negative resistance. Okay, and whenever we operate Gunn diode into this particular region, if we bias the Gunn diode by applying the voltage across the diode such that if we maintain the applied voltage across this diode in this particular range from threshold voltage to valley voltage, it will make sure that the diode will operate into its negative resistance. And once the Gunn diode start operating into its negative resistance region, it will start oscillating, and the oscillations with which diode we are going to get in a microwave signal. So whenever the diode will start oscillating, the generated oscillations are in the form of microwave signal, and later on this particular diode can be also used as an amplifying device, and this diode can basically used as a source of a microwave source. signal, right? So this is what the working principle of the gun diode, right? I hope you understood the principle of working. The principle of working of the gun diode is explained with the help of two valley theory, and this is the particular VI characteristic of the gun diode. So the gun diode is popularly used in low power local oscillators as well as in amplification of the micro signal. Typical frequency range with which the gun diodes are going to be operated are 1 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz, right? And sometimes the gun diodes are also known as transferred electron devices, right? Now this is what the principle of transferred electron devices. Now we are going to see the another type of diode in which again negative resistance is produced but with certain different principle. Okay, so that we are going to study in the case of impart diodes, or they are also known as family of a Reed diode. So here in a brief I will elaborate you the next type of a diode is the impart diode, or rather I will explain you the family of the diode called as a Reed diodes. Okay, so the next diode is the family, the name of the family of that diode is called as a Reed diodes. So in Reed diode we are going to see impart diodes first, then trapart diode and buried diode. The impart stands for impact ionization avalanche transit time diode. Okay, so we will see the later two types of a diode some other time. So let us discuss impact diode. So the short form impact stands for impact ionization avalanche transit time effect. Okay, and all these diodes they belong to the same family called as a Reed diodes. So please remember that all these diodes can also be named as a Reed diode. Okay, so the Reed diode belongs to the particular family of the diode in which negative resistance effect is observed. Okay, so all these diode, so when we see the later two diodes some other time, we see that all the working principle of this diode is based on the mechanism of generation of negative resistance. Okay, and these diodes can also be used as a source of a microwave, as well as they can be used for the amplification of the micro signal, the way in which we saw the working principle of the gun diode. But the principal working of the gun diode is different from these families of diode. Okay, so let us see what is the principal working of this type of a diode, which we normally call it as a Reed diode. Okay, so the name itself indicates the name is a combination of two processes. Okay, avalanche breakdown. So we are going to study first the impart diode. As I explained you already why the name is given impart diode. Impart stands for impact ionization avalanche transit time effect diodes. Okay, so in this particular diode we are going to see two unique effects. First is a avalanche breakdown. And second is a transit time effect. Now we already know what do we mean by transit time effect, right? So the transit time is the time taken by charge carrier to travel certain distance inside a semiconductor material. Okay, so this device, that is a impact diode, it going to make use of two mechanisms. Okay, now these two mechanisms are used to generate, I will write here, used to generate negative resistance effect. Used to generate negative resistance effect. Negative resistance effect, right? So This particular diode also is capable to generate a negative resistance effect, but here the principle is based on two separate processes. First is avalanche breakdown process and second is the transit time effect. By combining these two operations, this particular diode, impart diode, is able to produce negative resistance behavior. And once the diode will start operating into its negative resistance mode, it can be used as a source of a micro signal, or it can be also used to amplify the micro signal. Okay, so here the principle is different when it is compared with a gun diode. Gun diodes are known as transferred electron devices. Okay, on the other hand, the Reed diode we call it as a transit time devices. Sometimes they are also known as transit time devices. Please remember. So there is a difference between gun diode and Reed diodes. In Reed diode, we are going to see three unique diodes: impart, trapart and Barrett, out of which we are going to explain the construction of impart diode in detail now. Okay, so transit time devices are different and transferred electron device is a different. Please remember, gun diodes are known as transferred electron device, while the Reed family of the diodes, they are also known with the name transit time devices. Okay, so what is the principle? In order to obtain the negative resistance effect in this diode, they are going to make use of two separate operations. First is avalanche breakdown mechanism in order to generate large number of charge carriers, right? And second effect is a transit time effect. Okay, so I will draw the construction of impart diode and I will tell you the working principle. Okay, how the negative resistance is developed in the structure of impart diode, right? So a typical construction of impart diode will look like this. So what it consists of? It consists of a junction diode. Unlike a gun diode, it is a junction diode. A p-type semiconductor material is joined with n-type semiconductor material, and on the either side the same materials are heavily doped. So here we have highly doped P plus region, and on the right hand side we have highly doped N plus region, right? And this particular device, in order to use as a source of a micro frequency, it will be reverse biased with a DC voltage. Okay, and we are also going to connect a source of a small AC signal along with this, right? So this is a negative, this is a DC voltage, this voltage is a bias voltage, please remember, and this voltage is a small AC voltage. Okay, so the construction of impart diode is what it consists of. It consists of a simple PN junction with, on the other side, the same material is heavily doped with P plus and N plus region. Okay, and how particularly this particular diode is biased? Impart diodes are always used in a reverse bias configuration by applying the DC voltage. Okay, and we have shown over here small AC voltage also. Now let us see the working principle of this particular diode, and we will see how this particular diode is going to generate negative resistance effect, right, in the structure. So once this particular device starts developing negative resistance effect, it will start oscillating, and the oscillation frequency is located in the microwave region, and therefore this diode can be used as a source of a microwave signal. Now let us see how it is going to develop negative resistance effect. Okay, please remember, we saw in the case of gun diodes are going to create negative resistance effect by means of transferred electron mechanism, right? So here negative resistance effect in this type of a diode is also observed, but with certain different principle. So that principle we are going to explain it now. Okay, now here I will draw the waveform diagram. Okay, let us say this is the small AC signal. then okay, so this small AC signal, whatever we have shown over here, that is the AC voltage that represents this red signal. Okay, so when the diode is getting reverse bias, what will happen? The junction width increases, right? So here, if I draw the reverse bias PN junction, so this is P and this is N and this is reverse bias. P is connected to negative and N is connected to positive. So this is a particular reverse bias condition, right? So what will happen in reverse bias diode? The holes from the P region, they will get pulled out on the left hand side, and similarly the electrons from the N side, they will get pulled out on the right hand side, and the junction will get widened. Okay, so the junction width will increase. Okay, so this will give the effect of negative bias, and the width of the junction will increase, and the charge carrier will be separated from the device. So that means when we reverse bias this particular diode, the charges, that is the holes from the P region and the electrons from the N region, they got separated and they will be pulled out of the device. Okay, so this process we call it as a transit mechanism. So the transit mechanism means pulling out the charge carrier from the semiconductor region, okay, by applying the reverse bias. So what we do is we will adjust this DC applied voltage such that it will just reverse bias this diode. Okay, we already know the forward and reverse bias characteristic. So this is the forward bias. We are going to operate this diode in a reverse bias, so it will be giving this particular type of characteristic. So please remember here, the negative applied DC voltage in the reverse bias, we are going to operate the diode in this particular region of reverse bias. Okay, we are not going to operate diode in a forward bias. We will apply the DC bias across this diode such that it will just reverse bias the diode, and we will keep that voltage as a fix, and let us say this voltage is a VR, negative VR. Okay, now here the diode just got reverse biased. Now we already applied the AC voltage along with the DC voltage. Now what will happen when the AC voltage is going to already the negative DC voltage is applied to the diode, which currently reverse bias the diode, right? So whenever the negative half cycle of the AC signal start, the diode will get more reverse bias, right? So when the diode will get more reverse bias, more amount of charge carriers are pulled from the semiconductor section, right? So it will break down the junction. But please remember here, the diode will not burn out as in the case of ordinary semiconductor diode, but rather it will generate a large number of electron hole pair at the junction. Okay, so this cumulative multiplication of the charge carrier because of the increased reverse bias across the diode, we call it as a avalanche breakdown mechanism. Okay, so during the negative half cycle of the AC signal over here in this particular region, which I highlighted with a yellow color, the reverse bias applied across the diode tend to increase. Now this increased reverse bias will pull out more number of charge carrier from both sides of semiconductor, okay, and it will generate large number of electron and hole combination, okay, at the junction. Now this process we call it as a avalanche multiplication process of the charge carrier. So that's why the name is given avalanche multiplication, right? So what will happen during the negative going phase of the AC voltage? At that time, what we are going to get is a sudden large peak of the charge carriers. Okay, so these peaks are going to appear at every negative going cycle in this way. So here, if we denote in this way, the negative peak of the charge carrier. So these peaks are concentration of charge carriers. Concentration of charge carrier. So during the negative going phase of the AC signal, please remember, we will get a sudden increase in the charge concentration inside the device, right? So whenever these charges are released from the junction, right? So what will happen then? During that particular time when the large number of charge are released, they will travel through the semiconductor into the external circuit in this way. Okay, so they will travel in the external circuit in this way. So what will happen? So at that time in the external circuit we will get a flow of the current. Okay, so during this particular time then, okay, so here I will draw during this particular time. Okay, so what will happen? There is a current in the external circuit in this way. There is a current in the external circuit, or rather there is a current in the external circuit in this way. Okay, so this is a external current. So here I will write omega t as a x-axis during the time. Okay, so what is happening? So first of all, when we increase the reverse bias during the negative going half cycle of the signal, large number of charges are multiplied, and the cumulative effect is avalanche multiplication of the charge carrier, and we will get large number of electron hole pair generated at the junction, right? And these generated large number of hole and electron pair, they will start flowing through the external circuit, and through the external circuit we will get a current. So this is a current in the external circuit. Now if you carefully observe the relationship between the AC signal and the external current, so here the AC signal is over here, okay, and the external current in the circuit is approximately starting with 180-degree phase shift with respect to AC signal, right? So here the applied AC voltage is shown with a red color, and we are getting current in the external circuit approximately 180-degree phase shifted with respect to AC signal. So here the voltage and current are out of phase, right? So when the voltage and current are said to be out of phase, so when the voltage goes negative, the current goes positive, and vice versa. So that means the phase relationship between the voltage and current are opposite, 180-degree. So if you take the ratio of voltage to current which are out of phase, we can give negative ratios, and this ratio of opposite phase of the voltage and current, when we take, we will get negative resistance. Okay, so here this simple working principle of impact diode. So the impact diode, first it is properly biased in its reverse bias region, okay, and a small AC voltage is introduced. So what is happening during the negative going phase of the AC signal? The diode will get more reverse bias, and during the large value of reverse bias, avalanche multiplication of the charge carrier will take place inside the structure, and that will generate peak concentration of the charge carrier. So we will get peak concentration of the charge carrier. Once the high amount of charge carriers are developed inside the structure, these charge carriers then will move out from the diode structure in the external circuit, and it will give rise to the current in the external circuit. And the current in the external circuit is found out to be 180-degree delayed with respect to applied AC signal. And when we have the relationship between the applied AC signal voltage with the developed output current, we say that the voltage and current are out of phase. And if you take the ratio of voltage to current, it will be giving us negative differential resistance. And whenever we start operating the diode into the negative resistance region, this particular impulse diode will give us microwave oscillations. Okay, so this is a principle, and the mechanism to generate negative resistance effect is explained by means of a two process. First of all, we need to generate large number of charge carriers, and that is happening when we reverse bias the diode with the help of this negative going phase of the AC signal. Once large number of charge carriers are developed, so those charge carriers will come at the output of the circuit. Okay, so during that, whatever current in the external circuit we are going to get, the phase of that current will be out of when it is compared with the AC voltage applied. And thus, when we take the ratio of voltage to current, we will get a negative resistance. And whenever the diode is operated into its negative resistance, it will act as an oscillator. Okay, and the oscillation frequency of this diode will vary in the microwave range, and therefore impulse diode can be used as a source of a microwave. Okay, so this working principle of impulse diode I explained you. Please remember, the working principle of impulse diode is different from the working principle of gun diode. In gun diode, transfer mechanism of electron take place. We call them as a transferred electron devices. But in the case of impulse diode, the transit time effect along with avalanche breakdown principle, these two processes we are utilizing in order to generate the negative resistance effect. Right? So this principle working of impulse diode I explained to you. Now let us go to the theory and see the other diagrams and the other related things with respect to impulse diode. So the charge concentration diagram and the working principle I explained you already. Okay, so this is the same diagram which is shown in a little bit different way, right? So this explains the same principle and comparison of an impulse diode. Okay, so some of the properties of impulse diode. So impulse diode, when it is compared with a gun diode, the impulse diode have more efficiency, around 30%. They are more powerful, around 15 watt continuous wave operation, and their frequencies can easily reach up to 200 gigahertz. So higher amount of frequency can be generated using the impulse diode. Okay, while the gun diodes can generate a frequency up to 100 gigahertz. Compared to the gun diode, impulse diodes are noisier in operation. It is as usual because the impulse diode are going to utilize two principles. First of all, they need to generate large number of electron hole pair, and this by means of avalanche breakdown mechanism. And the overall process is going to be very much noisy compared to gun diode, right? So below 40 gigahertz, impulse diode have higher powers and efficiency than silicon diodes. Okay, so silicon and germanium impulse diodes are being compared. The lower frequencies, the output power is thermally limited and it is inversely proportional to the frequency. And at higher frequency, the power is electronically limited and it varies as 1 by f square. Impulse diode, they are highly sensitive to the operational condition, and this could be a drawback or limitation, as we can say. Impulse diode are going to possess large electronic reactance, which can cause detuning or even burn out of the device unless a proper care is taken in the external circuit where the impulse diodes are used. Okay, so the impulse diode, the working principle, how it is going to develop a negative resistance by means of using the two process, avalanche multiplication and transit time. Okay, so that is explained to you. Okay, the construction, the material which is used in the impulse diode are same, that is gallium arsenide. You can make use of the silicon also, and you can also make use of a germanium for the construction. Okay, and please remember the basic difference between the impulse diode and gun diode is that gun diode are junctionless bulk devices, while the IMPART diode are junction based devices, right? IMPART diode and gun diode, they are working on different principles. In gun diode, we are going to utilize transferred electron mechanism, while in the IMPART diode, we are going to make use of two processes, that is avalanche multiplication and second in the transit time effect. Okay, so these two diodes are very popular as far as microwave generation is concerned by using a semiconductor device. So in all modern microwave semiconductor devices, we will find the source of microwave made by either using gun diodes and IMPART diodes. Okay, so the remaining two diodes from the reed family over here that we already discussed, that is the TRAPART diode and buried diode, we are going to explain in our next lecture. Okay, so in today's lecture we saw two important diodes, gun diodes and IMPART diodes. Okay, both of these diodes are used for the generation of microwaves as well as for the amplification of the microwave, but these two diodes, they actually completely different in their working principle, right? So I hope you understood the principal working of the gun diode and the IMPART diode and their purposes and applications clearly. So we'll stop over here, and in our next lecture we will continue with the remaining two reed family diodes, TRAPART and buried, and finally we will come across the end of the syllabus, and there we are going to see the typical application by making use of a varactor diode in parametric devices. So thank you very much. Thank you all.